Assalamualaikum guys, welcome to another video of my channel. Today we are going to configure a router on a stick model with Mikrotik and Cisco. We are going to use Cisco Switch with a Mikrotik ROS device. In this case we have CAPS Lite access point, which has only one Ethernet interface and one Wi-Fi interface. So we are going to use VLANs to connect different interfaces logically with our bridges or whatever interface we will create in the router OS, and we will be deploying Ethernet over IP. We will be using Ethernet over IP to bridge a remote network and to connect this IP phone to that remote network via Ethernet over IP. All of that on VLANs. So stay with us and let's begin. Okay, this is how I connected the devices. On the first port is my router. The second interface FA0/2 is my IP phone, and on the third one is my laptop, and the last one interface FA0/8 is the internet. Okay, so this is how we are going to connect and configure this lab. On the very first step, we will reset the access point, we will reset the switch, we will reset all the equipment we are using. I have already reset the switch. I will show you the configuration. Just the basic configuration, no VLANs, no nothing. So, sorry. Show running configuration. Here is the configuration. There is nothing configured, no VLANs, no nothing, only just basic connectivity, basic configuration like interface VLAN has no IP address set up. It is only taking IP address from the DHCP, and we have set up remote access on the switch, and that's it, nothing else. So, but on our access point, if you have seen my previous video, we have set one access point using the TR69 client. So whenever I will reset this access point, it will connect to the TRS server. It will create a VPN tunnel to my network, connect to the ACS server, and then download the settings, and then it will set up on the new setting it receives. So we are always stuck with the latest configuration from the ACS server. So I will give you a demo of that real soon, like this 1, 2, 3. Okay, we will just try to reset again, reset configuration and reset. Yes, so in the meantime it resets. I will go through the interfaces. This is console connected to the USB on my laptop. The first one, the FA0/1, is connected to my access point, router, or whatever you want to call it. FA0/2 is connected to the telephone. FA0/3 is connected to my laptop. FA0/8 is connected to the WAN or the router or the internet source or whatever you might want to call it. So it is being reset. I think now it is in the middle of resetting or checking the configuration from my ACS server. So we'll wait for it to come alive. Yeah, okay. It was orange, now it is green. Okay, yep. Now it is, I think, it's just fresh. Where are we standing? Nope. Yeah, it's connected. It is checking. Which is, I think, trying to connect to the ACS server. Okay. Download is complete. Now it is, yeah, it's already been set up. It is configured from the ACS server. Now, whatever we do, we will be stuck with the configuration loop. So we will do the reset configuration, no default configuration, reset. So next time there is no default configuration, and it what is the, oh, my laptop is already connected to it. You want to reset all the configuration reboot? Oh yes. Remember, we are going to create some VLANs which will connect the interface. Like we will assign, for example, VLAN 10 for WAN. We will create an interface VLAN 10 on our router OS. We will create one VLAN VLAN 20 for our remote network, or for our IP telephony, which will be linked to an Ethernet over IP tunnel, of course, to connect this telephony to our remote branch or to the remote network. And we will be using a VLAN to connect the Wi-Fi as well, Wi-Fi interface. Okay, so let us check if the access point is, yeah. Okay, now there is no default configuration, it is totally blank. Yep, nothing, 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 and nothing. So we have the first step is very basic configuration of our router, access point, or whatever you want to call it. I will call this our router, because router OS has all the features of everything on anything, like all the hardware. Even if it is an access point, a router, a switch, it will have all the options which you will find on the very high-end one and on the very cheapest one, which is the caps Lite we have right now. It doesn't matter if it has only one interface, two interface, 15, 25, or unlimited interfaces. It will be having the same OS, it will be having the same set of functionalities. Okay, so we will proceed and we will do the basic configuration. Basic configuration, you can start from any anywhere. We will password. Old password is nothing. New one is admin123. Admin123. Okay. So now we will create the very basic thing. We will create a DHCP client. No, that we will do afterwards, no problem. Okay, the first step we will do is we will create a VLAN 10 for our Ethernet. I mean our internet, not Ethernet. So it will be VLAN 10. Interface will be Ethernet 1, and we will apply. Okay, so now we have VLAN 10 for WAN. Now we will create another WAN, VLAN 11 or VLAN 20, whatever you want to name it, for our IP phone. Okay, IP phone, VLAN 20, Ethernet 1, apply. Okay, Now we have two VLANs, and the other VLAN will be for our local area network, VLAN 30 LAN. So basically we will have these three virtual interfaces, as we will use these interfaces as we would use any physical interfaces throughout the settings, throughout the configuration. Like in the bridges, you can use VLANs instead of physical interface. LAN, Switch. Okay. Now we will assign the IP address to that bridge, 192.168.41.1/24. LAN bridge, apply. I created the bridge because I wanted to have two interfaces on the same bridge. If I didn't want that, I can directly use the VLAN instead of a bridge, and I can have that one interface to do whatever I want. So now, because I will also be going to use my WLAN 1 also on the same subnet or the same network. So that is why I created a bridge. If it was for single interface, no need for bridge, just directly set an IP address to that interface and you can work. Okay, another bridge we will create for our IP phone or for our remote network. Okay, so apply. We will add the remote IP to our. Okay, so this is done. Now we will set up a DHCP server for our LAN. Just plain simple LAN bridge. Next, DNS servers. Next, release time. Next. Okay, that's it. So we can go to IP DNS server. We will assign the server. Allow remote request. We will have another server. Apply. Okay. Now we have pretty much everything we need. We can also set the DNS server to our router. So it will have the same DNS server as the gateway, and all the DNS traffic will go or will flow through the router. Again, this is very basic router. This has I think 400 something or 600 megahertz CPU. Okay, yeah, 650 megahertz and about 16 MB of hard drive and about 64 MB of RAM. So for this instance, it is quite okay, or quite enough. Okay, so DHCP server is done. Now we need to create DHCP client on, remember, remote network bridge. Default route, no. Remote network, okay. Remote network bridge, because it has only one VLAN, and that VLAN will be also as a client, not giving out IP addresses, or there will be no DHCP configured on that VLAN. That is why it will not get any IP address right now. For now, it will get an IP address once we configure the Ethernet over IP tunnel, and once we have the internet working, then we will configure the Ethernet over IP tunnel. Then if the configuration is okay, then we will get an IP address on the remote network bridge. I hope it's not confusing, or I'm not confusing you guys. And the next step is another client. It will be for the VLAN. 10 WAN, yes, I need to use the peer DNS, peer NTP, network time protocol, default route, yes. So once the VLAN 10 is okay, we will have an IP address here, and we will be able to ping Google servers or Google DNS from here. So let's get to the configuration side. Configure terminal. Okay, so we will configure, first of all we will configure that interface which is going to be connected to the router as a trunk interface, which will be our FA0/1. So interface FA0/1, we will configure it as switch. Okay, so the trunk is configured on Ethernet 0/1, and now we will configure VLANs. So interface FA0/8. We will start from the last one. It will be on VLAN 10. So it will be switch port mode. Access, switch port, access, VLAN 10, and we also want VLAN 10 to have an IP address interface VLAN 10 IP address DHCP. Okay, so VLAN 10 is up. Now let's see if our, okay, let me move to 3. Now let's see if, yes, VLAN 10 is working. We have an IP address, and if everything is fine till now, we should be able to ping the internet. Yes, we are able to ping the internet. Okay, so it says that VLAN 10 is connected. Now we are going to configure VLAN 20 and VLAN 30. Okay, so now interface FA0/2 for the IP phone. It will go to switch port mode access, switch port mode access, switch port access, VLAN was VLAN 20. Okay, so interface VLAN 20, IP address DHCP, and exit. Now we have interface FA0/3, which will be on VLAN 30 as our LAN. So switch port access VLAN 30, switch port mode access, oops, switch port mode access. Let's try to reconnect. It won't, because I have changed the VLAN, and if I have done that, so that means that I should have a new IP address. IP config. Oh shit. Release. Renew. I should have something from 41. Yes, we have something from 41, so should be able to connect the router. Yes. Okay. Access IP address, DHCP server. Yes, it's working. It's working. It is working. So our VLAN 10 is working. Our VLAN 30 is working. Now I hope I'm not going super fast, or I'm not like confusing you guys. It is very straightforward configuration, very simple. All we are doing is configuring, creating VLANs on router, Mikrotik, and creating VLANs on Cisco, connecting them to the trunk port, which is the interface which is connected like from Mikrotik to the switch. Nothing else. Till now, nothing else. Only basic VLAN configuration, and that's it. So also the inter-VLAN routing will be done at Mikrotik site. You will just configure different networks, routing, and that's it. So now so even if we enable show interface, we should get IP address on two of the interfaces. So interface 10 is up, will be negotiated on, okay, VLAN 20, there is no IP address. VLAN 30 should give out an IP address. Okay, now we can also configure the Wi-Fi interface as well. Wireless, Mikrotik. Okay. Station, it will be station registration, AP bridge, apply. Yes, okay, VGN. It doesn't support, but okay. So we should have Mikrotik test. Let's connect and see what IP address is assigned. We have 41.253. So the DHCP server, yes, we have two of them. Okay, now so VLAN 10 configured, VLAN 30 is configured, VLAN 10 for WAN is configured, VLAN 30 for LAN it's configured. All this is on single interface, on single Mikrotik interface. Now the next step is to configure the IP phone VLAN and connect the Ethernet over IP tunnel to our remote router. So for that we need to create a new VPN client. We will be using point-to-point for this task we can name it anything, remote network, VPN. Okay, dial out we can use for this instance. I've already created this on the remote router, so you will have to just create on your VPN server, you have to create a username, password, a login, and you have to use that. here. So we are going to use our 215.68.140. The password will be router at 123. Okay, so let's see if we are at at 123, not at and smaller. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is connected. If you've got an IP address of 121.1, let's try to ping 121.1. We have successful ping. Now we will just create we will go to interface, open the EOIP Tunnel tab, add a new tunnel, IP phone tunnel. Okay, the main thing we need to mention here are the local address, which will be this router's IP address, the remote router's IP address, remote address, and the tunnel ID. We will try to check if this connects. We have enabled running. If this is configured correctly, we will have an IP address here. Searching. Okay, so yeah, because as I mentioned before, it will not have any IP address because there is no interface facing towards the DHCP server. Now all the interfaces they are client. They want an IP address, but there is no interface, or there is no DHCP on the remote network bridge. So we will add this tunnel which we created to the remote network bridge, and as soon as I will do that, I will get an IP address from the remote network, from the remote DHCP server. Yeah, it's here, 2.139. And okay, so guys, we had a little problem with the VLAN 20, so we changed it to VLAN 201, and now it's all working fine. All the interfaces, all the VLANs, they are working as we wanted them to work. Actually, I just missed a small configuration, step while configuring the VLAN 30, which is LAN. Actually, what I missed was we have to go to IP, firewall, NAT, and create a masquerade rule to allow all the internet traffic to flow through. Okay, so this is how you will do. Just go, you can add, change source NAT, action, masquerade, and press OK. That's it. Otherwise, you will be able to connect, you will be able to ping, but you will not be able to browse the internet. Now we are able to browse the internet through the setup. We can do a speed test and see how this little guy performs. So you can do this. You can use speedtest.net. I normally use command line. Much better, much accurate. So we are having about 40 Mbps download and around 20 Mbps upload, which is quite good for this kind of setup. And now for the next setup, for the next step, we can just finish it off here, or we can continue adding another feature to it. Like we can have another VLAN named VLAN 40 VLAN 40. Select the Ethernet. Select this for HS for hotspot. Yes, you can configure the same router as a hotspot controller as well. So we have to create a bridge first. HS bridge. I name it HS bridge. HS bridge means hotspot bridge, and the hotspot. Again, I told you if you want to use a single interface, you don't have to create a bridge. So we will not create a bridge. We will just use the same. We will directly use the VLAN. Okay, so address first we have to. Created a bridge, we can use this as well. Now, no use. Or we will just create a bridge now. No problems. First, we will check even if it is working or not. So the phone is working. If you want to check, 1, 0, 2.
Password. You have no messages. Press 2 to change folders.
So now let's check it. Okay, our VLAN is working, our hotspot is working, our internet is working. So we have one device, one interface. Using that interface we created normal LAN VLAN, normal LAN traffic VLAN, hotspot VLAN, our tunnel VLAN, and our main internet VLAN. So this is basically router on a stick model, which we just finished. Now if you want to use, you want to have a wireless as well, otherwise you can just connect an access point to this interface and you can have, okay, free Wi-Fi is there, but you will not be able to connect anything because the backend is not connected to anything. So we will have HS bridge. We'll include this just VLAN into here, and we will HS VLAN also and HS the VLAN also. Now if you will go to hotspot and on the servers you will see it is red in color because it is saying the interface you selected is not master interface, it is a slave interface. So the master interface will be the HS bridge which we just created. So now we also have to go to IP DHCP server, and we also have to change the interface from here as well. So now we have successfully it will take some time, it will just, yeah, okay, so it's done. So now we have successfully moved the hotspot server from an interface to a bridge. And in the bridge we have two interfaces. One is VLAN 40 and one is our Wi-Fi, our virtual Wi-Fi network, virtual AP. Try to connect. Fantastic. You have it. So use okay, it's there. And that's it, guys. Thank you everyone for watching. Please hit subscribe, please like the video, share the video with someone in need, someone who is looking to study Mikrotik with Cisco, somebody who is having problems with configuring Mikrotik VLANs on Cisco. Just share this video so they, he, she, or anyone might be able to profit of the scenario which we did today.